We have the Team Go Rocket takeover in Pokemon Go, so we're gonna go over the top tips, tricks, and strategies to make sure that you guys max out on this one in Pokemon Go. So welcome to the Trainer Club, here we go! The Team Go Rocket takeover is gonna be live tonight at midnight. On Thursday, well, it probably is already live for you guys, and that's going all the way until Monday at midnight. And we have the Team Go Rocket taking over Pokemon Go. In specific, a little bit of focus around the rock category. We also have a little bit of the flying category, and then we also have the brand new Shadow Timburr, which is very exciting. We're gonna go over where you can find that in this video. So there's two things that are going on. Number one, as far as the bonuses, there's gonna be Team Go Rocket pretty much everywhere, so please make sure to do as many rockets as you possibly can. Shadow Pokemon are usually, more than likely, the best Pokemon in the game, but with some exceptions. And beyond that, guys, we also have the ability to TM away frustration. So during this event, if you do get a Shadow Pokemon that you want to be able to put a regular move on, please go ahead and TM that away. If you have a legendary that is in the past, such as myself, I have the 98% IB Entei that I did max out in this video right up here. I'm gonna be able to TM away frustration so I can use that Pokemon, right? And I will be able to use it. You also can use a secondary charge move, but it's helpful to TM that away. So this event, if you go through pvpoke.com, you check out any of the Shadow Pokemon, please make sure to TM any of those things away because it's gonna be worth your time and effort. And even if you don't use that Pokemon, at least you were potentially going to be able to use that Pokemon and then you had that moveset away. And as far as the brand new Shadow Legendary, Giovanni will have the Cresselia. So you're able to claim this research that's going to get you this Super Rocket Radar all the way until September 3rd. And on September 3rd, it's gonna go away. But if you get this research, and then you're able to go all the way and don't complete the first page, you can hold on to this and not be able to complete it and save this Super Rocket Radar if you want to in the future. But in the Great League, as far as Cresselia, it's ranked 23 in the regular, 62 in the Shadow, which is not great. In the Ultra League, 14 in the regular, 23 in the Shadow. And then in the Master League, 130 in the regular and 140 in the Shadow. So it looks like in this Pokemon situation, it's favored more towards the bulk than it is the attack. So they're preferring that you have a little bit more bulk to that Pokemon because just as a reminder, when you have the Shadows, and you do have them out there, they are dropping in their defense. So they're not gonna be quite as bulky as they would be before. And let's not forget this weekend is gonna be Shadow Lugia raids on the 10th and the 11th. So if you guys do want Shadow Lugia, this is a great time to do so. And there's gonna be Pokestop Showcases. But let's start off with my tip number one. Tip one is fighting as many rockets as you possibly can. So I'm gonna go over some of the rockets that we have. Just as a reminder, Shadow Arkin, Shadow Tortuga, and then we have the brand new Shadow Timburr. And so when we're looking at the Arkin and the Tortuga, unfortunately their evolutions are not great. Even in the Shadow forms, they do not hold up. But the Timburr is the one to look out for. And while it doesn't fare too well in the Great or the Ultra League, in the Master League, it's ranked 80 in the Shadow and 93 in the non-Shadow, so it does get a bump up. With a moveset of Counter, Dynamic Punch, and the Calm Day move of Brutal Swing. And if you want to find Timburr, it's going to be in the Shadow Rocket Grunt. It looks like a female grunt that says, this physique isn't just for show. And that one can be a Machop. It can also be a Makuhita or the brand new Shadow Timburr. So it's probably gonna be rare, guys, not too common, but if you do find one, please make sure to shout it out in Campfire and get some people aware. And for the brand new other two rock Pokemon, in the Let's Rock and Roll, you can find that. Or in the female Battle Against My Flying type, you're gonna be able to find that Arkin, all right? So those are gonna be where you find those grunts. And please make sure to do the Dragon Grunt that says Roar. That one's gonna be a Dratini, which does have the shiny capability, and Dratini is absolutely fantastic. And let's talk about the leaders in tip number two. The leaders are honestly not super great. So the Shadow Lileep is going to be with Cliff. The Shadow Anorith is going to be with Arlo, and the Shadow Carvanha is going to be with Sierra. So for me personally, not super excited about these leaders. Man, such a bummer, dude. I really hope that when they put these things out, they at least have one semi-relevant Pokemon in here that gets me excited. Like, even if it's just a rerun like Cliff last time with Machop, was more fun than having all three duds. And I don't mean duds that the shinies aren't cool, because there were cool shinies. The Trapinch was a cool shiny, as well as the Cacneo was a cool shiny, But in this specific scenario, while the shinies may be decent, they don't really get me overly motivated to go and fight out. I'm more excited, honestly, to try to get that Shadow Timburr than I am with anything else in here. And so for me, when I'm running up against these teams, I'm typically running in spot number 1, the Lucario. You could even use the Mega Lucario. In spot number 2, I'm probably going to run a Dialga, and then in spot number 3, I will use something like a fighting type Pokemon if I'm going up against a Cliff, a water type Pokemon against Sierra, and then against Arlo, I usually have a Reshiram in there as well for the fire. And let's not forget about the Giovanni. So in spot number 1, we are looking at his notorious Persian, and that thing is actually quite strong. So what I do here is I go in with a Melmetal. I'm going to attack with that Melmetal. I'm going to get an attack off, and then I'm going to switch right over into my Lucario. And then I'm just going to start using Power Up Punch to hit that thing over and over again. I'm going to get up specials, and I'm going to waste its other shield. And then I'm going to go into the next Pokemon with this Lucario, which we have the Honchkrow, we have the Kangaskhan, which both of those can be relatively handled with this Lucario. And then finally, it's going to take us into the Cresselia. So you could put in something in there like a Hydreigon that's going to have a dark move to make sure that you handle this Cresselia if it does have that. The only problem with the Hydreigon, it is going to be weak to Fairy. However, the Mewtwo is a great option if it does have Shadow Ball, because that Shadow Ball is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to resist a lot of Psychic moves coming off of that Pokemon because it's Psychic on Psychic. So those are going to be the overall general pictures, which then takes us to the research and tip number 3. The research will be as follows. We have defeat 1 Go Rocket Grunt, which is going to be a mysterious component. Guys, these research tasks are really going to be the only way that you're going to be able to stock up on a whole bunch of Rocket Radars if you desire to, because you can keep accumulating these mysterious components, which will then transition every 6 into a Rocket Radar. The only time in this game that we're able to stock that up. And then you have to purify 3 Pokemon for either a fast or a charged TM. Personally, I do not think this is worth it because you're using Stardust to trade for here. I am typically from raiding, deleting a lot of these things anyway, but that's me personally, and if you do decide to do so, please make sure to purify a 1000 per purify in this scenario so that you're not wasting too much Stardust. And then we have the Shadow Raids. In Tier 1, we have Mareep, Wooper, Cranidos, and Shieldon. Just a reminder, Cranidos is extremely strong in Rampardos as the Shadow. However, that Pokemon is going to then be glassy, so be cautious there. In Tier 3, we're going to get Nuzleaf, Manectric, and Vibrava, and then obviously we're going to get the Lugia in the Tier 5. And then we have the Adventure Week Takeover, which is going to be a research story. Catch 15 Pokemon for 5 Pineapple Berries, purify 2 Shadows for 10 Pokeballs, remember to purify the 1000s, defeat 3 Team Go Rocket Grunts for 1 component, and then we're going to get 1500 XP, 500 stars, and a Kabuto encounter. In Stage 2, catch 20 Pokemon for 5 Pineapple Berries, purify 5 Shadow-type Pokemon for 10 Great Balls, and defeat 6 Team Go Rocket Grunts for 3 components. For 2000 XP, 1000 Stardust, and an Omanite encounter. And then in Tier 3, this is going to be where you are going to get the Super Rocket Radar. You have to defeat an Arlo, a Cliff, or a Sierra for 2500 XP and 1500 Stardust. In Tier 4, we are going to be getting Find, Battle, and Defeat the Rocket Boss for 10 Hyper Potions, 10 Ultra Balls, and 6 Max Revives. For 3000 XP, 2000 Stardust, and an Aerodactyl encounter. And then finally, claim the reward for 1500 Stardust each for 6000 XP, 5000 Stardust, and 3 TMs. And then if you guys are feeling extra spicy, there is a box in the shop that you are going to be able to get radars, and you're also going to be able to get battle passes. However, it is going to be currency in the web store for $9.99. Anytime there's currency for boxes, it has to be an extremely good box for me to be able to go after that. So guys, what's the overall takeaway of this event? Well, number 1, Shadow Timburr. Number 2, TM away frustration. And number 3, battle as many Rocket Grunts as possible to be able to stock up on as many Rocket Radars as your heart desires, and to be able to get it through field research. So it's not a ton to take into account, but then also the Shadow Lugia is great as well, and something that you might consider doing, which in tomorrow's video, we're gonna check out the counter guide. So thank you guys for being here as always. Love and appreciate you guys. To all of my likers, comments, and subscribers, Patreon members, everybody takes your support, subscription, and participation to X level. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace.
I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.